I get so hyped when I see people I love up on the screen, dude.
Oh my gosh, me too. I love it. It's like the best. You were just talking about human connection, and it's literally one of my favorite things about life and being here on this planet with so many beautiful people is like getting to connect. So that's kind of been like, I mean, a little bit stripped from us in quarantine. Yeah. So it's really nice to just like feel it, even if it's virtual. I feel like the vibes.
Absolutely. It's funny because when someone says, "What does life mean to you?" That was a question that was asked of me recently. It's funny. I didn't know how to answer it straight away, but when you think about it, you know, I say things like what most people would say, like, "What does life mean to me?" It's like, well, family, happiness and health, and then I was trying to think a little deeper because for the most part we would all say that. We all love, you know, that type of thing. But like, you know, this existence and this life and in this era that we embody as Deja and Lita, like what outside of our families, which is to me is like an automatic thing. Like, what is life supposed to be about? And I cannot help but think that it's about connection. It's about connecting with other human beings, sharing personal experiences, and then elevating each other in younger generations. So in times like this quarantine, you know, we're just in crazy times. And at this point, I'm almost tired of talking about it, but it obviously needs to be spoken about because then it then lends itself to having conversations about like how we maintain our health, what we do for our mental health, what you're doing to inspire and keep your audiences active and healthy and happy, and all these other things. So but before I get into that, let's rewind. Rewind, girl. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you. I know you are a very busy woman, so for you to agree to come and chat with me like this means a lot, means the world. And I'm so grateful, Deja. Thank you.
Thank you for asking me. I mean, some people that follow me already know that you are one of my biggest inspirations. And I thank you for all the work that you're doing. Like, you just being representation of like other women that look like me, that are, you know, strong and really believe in themselves, and like you're walking in your greatness, and that's just so beautiful to see. So like, I'm also going to cheer you on right here, right now, because you make me feel like what I can do is possible. So thank you for that.
That makes me fully emotional, girl. That's I honestly don't even know how to answer that. That is one, you're super kind. I described you when I was telling folks on my other page to come and join this conversation. I was like, oh, knowing you, for those that know you personally, know that you just move, and I described you as like a vortex of energy. And I don't mean that lightly. You are truly one of those types of people where your energy and your spirit really, really shine very brightly.
Thank you.
And just hearing you say such kind words to me, first and foremost, a compliment, they're wonderful, but when it hits differently and it actually means something, those types of things mean a lot to me personally, because I've consciously tried to choose the life that I love. And when someone actually speaks to that purpose, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And I'm grateful. So there's all that. But speaking of grateful, say, this chat is made possible because it's presented by Truly.
Yes.
I wanted to, and actually it's delicious. I sip on them during this chat and quite willingly. So I'm drinking this raspberry lime, which is delicious. But all that to say, we typically start with this, finding out what we're truly grateful for. And I think we've already kind of jumpstart this conversation by thinking about things like that. But I have to ask you, what are you truly grateful for?
Oh yeah, I have a long gratitude list that I go through on a daily basis. But like, one of the biggest things that I'm grateful for during this time is my health. Yeah. My mental health, my physical health, my spiritual health. I'm so grateful that I'm in a very positive place and in a place of growth on all of those different levels. I'm grateful for my friends and my family. I'm grateful for my fitness community because if they didn't show up, I'd have nobody to do these workouts with. So it's I'm very, very grateful for them. It's amazing to have them even during this time of quarantine. It's actually made it feel like I'm actually interacting with like clients and things like that, even though we don't actually get to see each other in person. So I'm grateful for those relationships. I'm grateful for like just being being right now, like in this
Yeah.
place right here and right now. Like sometimes I just like take moments to just like sit there and be like, wow, I'm doing well. And like sometimes I even turn to my husband and I'm like, we're doing a good job. We're doing well. Like, and just
Yes.
own that. So I'm grateful for the present moment, and I'm grateful for the future that is to come.
Oh, I love that. I love that you're also giving yourself grace and like a congrat. Sorry. Um,
I think we froze for a second. Oh, we're back. We're back.
yeah,
Yes.
no. I apologize. I thought that this someone was trying to call me, but I could have sworn I was on Do Not Disturb. So maybe it's because I'm connected to Wi-Fi. But all that aside, I was saying that it's really beautiful when people actually congratulate themselves or give themselves credit when they are doing something good. Because I've noticed that we only really acknowledge when we're doing bad. And so I love that you mentioned that in your gratitude of all things. And I second that. I think everything that you mentioned, I'm absolutely grateful as well. And I'm also grateful for, and just admittedly speaking, in all this like doing good, because I definitely feel like, oh, I'm doing good. Like I'm healthy, I'm happy. I go through peaks and valleys because sometimes I wake up and I feel pretty discouraged at times.
Yeah.
But then I think about all the things that I do have to be grateful for and realize that gives me every sort of reason around the sun to continue to be, right? And you also mentioned that, just to be.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really beautiful as well.
Yeah.
So thank
sure.
you. Secondly, Deja, what I love to do is, especially with like people that I know, because I like to try to get to know them a little bit deeper. And when I say that loosely because your energy to me is very familiar, even though we've only sort of interacted in person like a handful of times, or once or twice.
I think twice. Yeah, I think twice.
A testament to what I'm about to say, though, because your energy is so familiar, I feel like I know you a lot better than I actually do. And I find that to be true when you meet people with a different type of energy. And I've spoken about this a lot. We are energy. We just happen to look like this and in this skin and in this body, right?
Yes.
But with all that said, you know, if I was to describe myself to somebody, there's a lot of things and titles that I would take on, right? Like a lot of people first describe themselves as a mother or a wife. But my question to you is this: how do you, Deja, describe yourself as a person without the titles of what you do for a living, say?
Yeah. I think first and foremost, I am support. I think in so many different areas of my life, I offer support and I am support. And even for myself, I'm support. I think that I am a friend. I think that I am a light. I love being a light. I think that's like one of the most exciting things about this life is that you can shine your light out into the world and be felt in that way. Like you just talked about having a very familiar energy. And I love that when people say that about me, is like, oh, your energy feels good, or it feels familiar, or it feels warm, or it feels like home. Those are things that like I actually practice. I actually practice the kind of energy that I'm going to put out in the world. And I first fill myself up and make sure that I'm putting the right energy into myself so that whatever flows out is also coming from the right space. So I would definitely say I describe myself as all of those things. I am also a daughter. I'm a wife. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. And, you know, I think, like you said, like feeling like your energy, feeling like you are just like, it almost makes you feel like you're not restricted to just this body that you're in, you know, that it transcends beyond you. So I like that description. I'm going to say I am energy too.
Yes, I love that. Perfectly answered. I love that. Thank you. Sometimes people struggle with that one because like people are so used to those titles existing in this life as something or someone to someone else, or essentially what they do for a living. And sometimes it's hard for people to be like, wow, like what am I? What, you know, it's like, you know, I'm compassionate, I'm a giver, and all these types of things usually take some time. But you just answered that perfectly. So thank you.
Well,
so,
Lita, I was gonna say
going on. Oh,
I was gonna say for people who do struggle with that, I actually do this with some of like my clients and stuff. I make them write down I ams. And these I ams can't have anything to do with like a career. They can't have anything to do with like what you might be useful for in the world. They have to be like descriptive words. And it helps you kind of get to the like root of who you truly are and what your purpose truly is. So like I will make my clients like sit down and write like, I am beautiful, I am powerful, I am strong, you know, because those are the things that you want to remind yourself of whenever you're going through a struggle, is that you are these things, you are resilient, you will push through, you know. So that's how I'm able to hold on to those things, because I definitely continue to write out my affirmations.
Well, that's probably why you answer that like a nail on the head, because you practice this like constantly. But that's perfect, and that is so true. When I was heavy in journaling, which I feel like I definitely don't journal as much as I used to. I used to definitely start with the I ams. And I used to go back into old journals and compare those I ams to like more present times. And it's funny to see on paper how you, as a person, grow and mature and evolve. So I think that's a really beautiful exercise. I think everybody should be doing it if you're not already, right? The I ams really speaks to how you're feeling inside, you know?
Yeah.
That's perfect. You know, it's funny. I try to prepare for these conversations as best I can. And with you, I thought there's so many things to talk about that I don't necessarily need to put anything on paper.
I love it.
You've been posting some amazing content, obviously related to dance and fitness. But there was something that kind of really stuck out to me, and it, you know, speaks on current times and the racial divide and inequality in which this nation really finds itself struggling and battling in. And as a woman in an interracial marriage, number one, your husband to me is just so adorable. The kind of love that I see from your page truly is it is just genuinely beautiful. And as somebody, it is funny, you posted something, I think was probably a couple weeks ago now. And I read it thoroughly, and I'm just wanting to applaud you in that moment. Because as somebody too, because you mentioned this, as somebody, as a big lover of Black love, you know, where does that sit with a woman of color or a man of color that are with somebody that is outside their race? I mean, it shouldn't necessarily mean that you dislike Black love just because you're love and you're doing life with somebody that is not of the same skin color. So to me, it was very multi-layered. And as I was reading your words, I found them to be truly genuine and something that you're really passionate about. So I do want to speak to you about that, about your thoughts on perhaps one, current times in the United States and how you find yourself, maybe you and your husband are kind of navigating to collectively or together. And then two, where does that sit with you in your spirit, being in an interracial marriage, and how that affects or heightens your relationship?
Yeah. So you talked about the article. I have to rewind just a little bit and congratulate you on your engagement, because you'll be getting married soon. That's so exciting. And honestly, marriage is one of my favorite things about like doing life. I love doing life with another person that shares a very similar energy to me, but also is like so different from me. My husband, obviously on the physical side, we are polar opposites. I'm short, he's tall, I'm Black, he's white. Like we just like, if somebody looked at us, they probably would never pair us up at first sight. Right. But our energies were attracted to one another. And I think it goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning of our conversation, is that like, it's so important that we see one another as energy and really see each other's hearts and what's on the inside, as opposed to judging what's on the outside. I think for me, you know, in these fights for social justice and me speaking up and raising my voice about my relationship in particular, it really was uncomfortable for a moment. Like I wasn't going to say anything. And then I was getting a lot of different comments, whether they were like on my page and I would just like have to block and delete, or like I was getting DMs and they were very hateful. And I just kept saying the same thing. Like, does it make me less Black to be married to a white man? And my answer was no. My answer was no, it doesn't make me any less Black. It does not negate my Blackness for marrying and choosing as my life partner a white man. And so in this now article, it's actually published on PopSugar.com now. So
nice. Oh, perfect.
Yeah, if they want to go look it up and read the long form, where I actually share pieces of like my husband and I's story, how we met, and how I just came to writing out that piece. And I make some references to, there's this YouTube show that I watch. It's called Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. And I believe the host's name is Emmanuel Acko. But he had an episode, I think it was like episode 4 or 5, one of those. And he had 2 interracial couples on the episode, and they were sitting across from each other. And he first showed them with 2 black people on one couch and 2 white people on the other couch. And then he flipped it and put them in their actual relationships. And one of them, her name I think was Rachel Lindsay. She was like the Bachelorette. I don't really watch The Bachelor.
Oh, okay. I do not watch those either. But
okay. But I learned that she was the Bachelorette on one season, and she ended up choosing a white man. And then Lindsey Vonn, who you might be familiar with, an amazing athlete, she also is in a relationship with a black man. And so they kind of sit and have these like somewhat uncomfortable conversations, but they're really answering a lot of the questions that I felt like I needed answered in my relationship. And a lot of the stuff that they were feeding was like stuff that I could relate to and stuff that my husband could relate to. And like all we were saying was that like our love is still beautiful, and it doesn't change what anybody else might feel about their own love. And for them, vice versa, it shouldn't change what they feel about loving us as human beings.
Sure.
Because that's exactly what we are. We're human beings. And I think that, you know, in this fight for equality, all we've wanted as Black people is to be treated like human beings.
Yeah.
You know,
so made in that really touched home. So yeah, I'm sorry to cut you up. Please speak up to that, because that was really profound for me to read and understand from your perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, you know, we all have these desires to be loved, to be seen, to be heard, to be felt. And, you know, when somebody makes you feel less than because of a choice that you've made, a loving choice that you've made, right, it kind of makes you feel, you know, like you're not enough, or you feel like your love is not enough. And I know I have a ton of love to give. My parents, like, raised me to be, you know, pouring out love all over the world, and I enjoy doing that so much. And I enjoy doing that in my marriage. I enjoy doing that with my friends and my family members. So all I was trying to really get across in that message was that, like, we all want the same thing. We all want to be loved. We all want to receive love and give love. So why don't we just do that? And, you know, I wanted to reach out to other people that don't necessarily feel like they have a voice, you know, in this fight, other Black women that may be in interracial relationships, whether it be marriage, or they're just dating, or they just have interests in somebody outside of their race, that they also have a place in this fight. And so I kind of just ended my piece with saying that and really just giving some love back to those women. And I got an outpour of people like writing to me and like sharing their photos with me of like them and their significant other, and it was just so beautiful. So in that, I was able to cultivate even more love and give some people some additional confidence in their relationship and in their walk, whether it was marriage or, you know, dating or whatever the case may be.
I love that. I love that. And I applaud you for being really unapologetic about your love and how you exist in the world with your husband. Because I think I have heard from a, not in a marriage, but in a relationship, a long-term relationship, and I share a child, how the woman, being a Black woman, felt almost kind of abandoned by her community, by her choice in who she wanted to do life with. And that was really sad to hear. And obviously she loves her family and her family love her, but she has felt like sometimes at family gatherings, cookouts, it was like, I get it, my husband is really different. And culturally, you know, she said there's probably things that I need to continue to teach him, but the rejection almost is not necessarily what's said, it's an energy. And she said that feels horrible. And so in time they have neglected certain things or family gatherings because of that energy that they feel. And I couldn't think of anything worse. This idea that your family love you, and she knew that, but then an energy that she kind of couldn't explain, but perhaps maybe you're familiar with. I felt for her in that, because for somebody that wanted to share their lives and the person that they're doing life with and their love with the very people that you love on the planet, it was something that she felt like she was a little bit excluded from. It must have been a really painful situation. So I think, you know, perhaps because I'm not in an interracial relationship or marriage, perhaps I'm not seeing a lot of it. But this idea that you're providing advice and guidance for those that are actually speaking or hearing your story and finding it familiar, I think is a beautiful thing, and perhaps maybe something that you're more inspired to continue to share, as far as being really proud and unapologetic and unwavering in your love and in your marriage, because it does give light to other people that are also struggling, right?
Yeah. I definitely think it does. And, you know, I would say like the one piece of advice that I'd want to offer anybody in that, you know, in those situations, whether you might face adversity because of who you've chosen or who you choose to be. Like I always say, like, not everybody's supposed to be in your life. And I got this like twist on a Dr. Seuss quote. So I'm just going to say it's from Dr. Seuss. Part of it is, but it's like, be who you are, love who you want. Because those that matter don't mind, and those that mind don't matter. You know? And so it's like, just don't choose to carry around those burdens. Life is heavy enough. Yes. We should just let those things go. If those people don't want to support you in your love, hey, there's plenty of people who do want to support you in your love. Find those people. Spend your time finding those people instead of gravitating to the ones that don't really want to see you happy, because that's all it is. It's like when people, you know, feel like you shouldn't be having a certain type of love, because the word love is like, to me, that's like so sacred, but so beautiful. And I don't think that there's like a wrong way to love, because if it's wrong, then it's actually hate, you know? So I just think like,
I love that. That was a gem right there. Okay. Yeah, please.
It's so true. It's so true. So it's like, you know, if there are those people that are not willing to embrace love, embrace the love that you're creating for yourself and for others and for whoever your partner is, then let them go. And it's okay. There's going to be people around that will support you.
Absolutely. I love that. Sound advice. Perfect. And now, because I'm curious, Deja, could you perhaps speak on your husband's experience as far as being in the climate that we're in this country? Obviously loving you and supporting you as a woman of color in this country, in this times. Do you know if he has experienced rejection or embarrassed? Like, what is that experience for him, or even collectively?
I will say this. I will say that both of us have really strong support systems in our family and friends. We typically experience it from complete strangers, like people that don't know us. So, you know, yes, sometimes those jabs may feel a little tough. We definitely have this strong support system that's surrounding us. So at the core of everything, I think we do pretty well together. Yeah. I think that for us, we always want to practice being a student first before we're ever teaching anything. And so like, as long as we can be in a learning place, whether we're learning from people that may be spewing hate, like, hey, I'm learning that like, that doesn't look good. So I don't want to be that. And I don't want to develop those types of habits in which I'm delivering that sort of energy to the world. It's like, you have something to learn from everyone. So like both me and my husband are like always learning. And I think during this time, one of the biggest things for us has been like learning more about each other's like backgrounds. It's so strange because we've been together for 7 years, but I feel like I've learned more about my husband in quarantine than ever before.
Interesting. Let's talk about quarantine and let's talk about that. Because I feel like I've been learning new things too. Yeah. Some things I don't really care for. But no, it's interesting time. So life is interesting. We all know this. We're all, depending on what state you're living in, rules and laws are all really different. I know you're here in Los Angeles, same city that I'm in. And obviously a lot of things are still shut down, closed, and we're navigating life literally wearing a face covering every time we leave our homes. Yeah. At home, let's talk about like this idea of perhaps mental health and self-care. As somebody that really exudes such positive energy and light, what is Deja doing to maintain a level of mental health and emotional health in a time that is like throwing us off our whole equilibrium?
Yes. So the biggest thing is I'm in therapy. Like I am in therapy once a week. My husband and I do it together. We love it. We have been like so productive in this time, specifically because we've just like thrown ourselves into an uncomfortable space of being in therapy. I think more uncomfortable for someone like me than him, because I have like, you know, this stigma that has existed in my family, in my community, that's been like, if you're not crazy, you don't need therapy. Like, I've actually heard that phrase before, like, I'm not crazy, I don't need therapy.
Right, no, I've heard it too.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy. It's the stigmatization that just lives in Black communities and like in Black families. And so for me, like, I don't ever want to get mental illness confused with mental health. We all have mental health. We may not all have mental illnesses, but we definitely all have mental health. And because we have that, we can always be improving it. So for me, like, therapy is just self-improvement. And for us, it's like marriage improvement, because we always want to be growing, getting better. Like I said, my husband and I pride ourselves on always being students. So we're like, there are definitely areas that we can grow in. We're not perfect beings. So for me, like, I've been in therapy, and I like honestly can say that's probably one of the best things that we started to do together during quarantine. I was already doing some therapy prior to quarantine on my own. And this was just like some soul searching that I needed to do when it comes to family. And so for me, like, it was like, okay, like, I'm comfortable doing this thing on my own, but like, it was like one of the first things to go, especially because like during quarantine, all of us want to save. You know, we may not be making the same income that we were making before quarantine. I know that's true for me. So I was like, okay, let me see what I can knock off my list. Yeah, I probably don't need my boxing privates. I can just hit my bag at home. I probably don't need my therapy. And then I was like just kicking things off, things for my mind, body, and my soul. But I'm now realizing that taking care of my mental health is what informs my spiritual health, what informs my physical health. If I don't have my mindset correct, there's no way that those other parts of my lifestyle are functioning. So when I like talk to my clients and when I talk to people, I always say that wellness, being well, is a 3-part lifestyle. It is mind, body, and soul. And that's why you have to include them all in the process. You can't just trade in one and like just work on one. It's like, it's a constant like collective. You have to be working on all of them. So mental health is super important to me.
Oh yeah, and I love that you said that you speak my language, because what I'm also finding personally especially in quarantine, I think quarantine has heightened this awareness, is that the idea of physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health actually are not separate. They are one. And I feel like I have been busy doing other things that is actually taking me away from like being physically as active as I usually am, or obviously with a lot of the gyms closed, not say lifting or doing things that I know like my body loves.
Yeah.
That also helps with my mental health and my emotional health. And so when I've taken one piece away, I realize I feel really unbalanced, and it starts playing with me mentally. That's one thing. As you're speaking, I'm like, also I can kind of like add to that, is that this different realms of health, as you mentioned, mind, body, soul, is like mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, as far as I see it as well. They're not separate entities. They are all one. So just how you would have a personal trainer to maintain your physical fitness, I'm such an advocate for this idea of having a therapist or a counselor, perhaps somebody more qualified than your girlfriends, because, you know, sometimes their advice is a little bit biased. But having someone to actually speak about all the inside stuff also is, I think, such a underrated investment in self. And listen, everybody I know in therapy, no, they don't regret therapy. You know, it's always something that adds to their life, and clearly it's working for you. And so I love that you mentioned that and sharing that too, because I'm constantly saying therapy, counseling, whatever it may be, in mental, emotional, spiritual health is almost like this. It has to live on the same plane as your physical health. Because again, as somebody that lives very heavily in fitness, as perhaps maybe you are too, I think that you're definitely one of the people similar to me that also heightens this other realms of health and brings it all together and understands, like, you may look like a chiseled goddess, you know, and have rock hard abs and a beautiful show. But like, if you are not mentally and spiritually and emotionally aligned, can you call yourself healthy? You could look amazing and ready for a stage, but you cry yourself to sleep each night. Are you healthy? Absolutely not. And I think people like you and I need to continue to speak that message, because in a time of social media being such a forefront of how we perceive reality,
yes,
it's so important that we speak the truth. So
absolutely.
important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think that, you know, a lot of people don't really see, like, when people think about getting healthy, they're oftentimes thinking about nutrition and, you know, the physical side of things, losing weight and things like that. I want to point out one of the posts that you posted. I think it was like last week, and it was like a swipeable carousel post. Okay. And it was just kind of the same ideas that I drive home with like any of my viewers. It's like, being physically healthy is not just about dropping the pounds. I usually say to people, like, the first thing you probably need to do is throw away that scale, because it's really about how you feel. It's not necessarily about how you
look. It's my mantra.
Yes.
I'm
always say,
asking my clients, how do you feel? Well, I dropped to 2 pounds last. No. How do you feel?
Yes.
Very different question. Very different question. So I love that you bring that up. Yes.
It's essential. It's essential that we remember that. And it's essential that we go back to things that make us feel good. I think that quarantine has driven me so much closer to all the things that make me feel good. You know, it's like, even like in doing my closet clean out a couple of weeks ago, I was like, honestly, I don't need most of these clothes. Why? Like, where am I going? I'm like keeping all these things in my closet that make me look good when I go out. I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, let me just keep the things that make me feel good. Okay, my sweatsuits make me feel good. I work out a lot, so like all my feel good. Like, you know, it's so important to know that, like, everything is about a feeling. Everything that drives us in life is about a feeling. So getting to that place of feeling good is going to only drive you into a positive direction.
I love that. So two things. Feeling, it speaks more to your energy of who you truly are outside of this shell that we call our bodies, right?
Yes.
So if anybody's a little confused on that, feeling is more in tune with your mental and emotional and spiritual self. So your feeling is never wrong. If anyone tells you that you can't feel that way, that makes any sense. That person is incorrect. Your feeling is 100% the most honest emotion you could feel, because it comes from your actual spirit, right?
Yes.
And number two, I would say, Deja, don't get rid of all those clothes, because you know, that will happen again. All right, we gotta keep something sexy up in there outside of sweatshirts.
No, it's true. It's true. But I will say this: during this time, I've been supporting a lot of like my sisters in fitness and rocking a lot of different clothes from Black-owned businesses and things like that. So as I do a clean out, I'm definitely still buying things. So like all my clothes haven't gone away. And speaking of clothes, I just have to let you know right now, I'm going to back up a little bit. I'm living in my thick athletic.
Gosh. Number one, you look so cute in them. They are, I'm actually really proud of them, because there's a lot of different seamless types of styles out there, but this one here, literally, I went back and forth doing like, I think like 7 samples. Is like the thickness and how they kind of really hug your body.
Oh my gosh.
So if you're comfortable in it, it means the world to me, because I really just wanted to get women, especially women I love and adore, just feeling good and something that obviously moves with their body. So it's so cute to see you wear that. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much.
Of course. They're literally hugging me in all the right places. You said it. It's like a glove on my body. And then like, after it absorbed my sweat, I like dried off so quickly. Like normally I just like snatch off all my workout clothes. And like this morning I was like, I think I'm going to keep these on. They feel good. So I kept them on. But I really, really love your line. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Love thyself is going to now be another one of my life mantras, because I love it. And if you guys have not checked out Thick Athletic, you need to check it out. It's awesome. Love it.
I promise you all, it wasn't a plan that she.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't planned.
I promise you. But truly, sis, thank you so much. It It means a lot to me. What are you working on? I know that you're creating YouTube videos. Yes. You're also a collaborator with PopSugar. Can you perhaps let us know what's going on in your world and what we could look out for?
Of course. So all the places that you can follow me, I am at Deja Riley on Instagram and on Twitter. I'm really only on Instagram and Twitter, but I don't get on Twitter that much. I also am on YouTube. So if you go to youtube.com/Deja Riley, you can find all my dance out of the box workouts. I have a couple of like conversations so people can get to know me a little bit. And then you can also find me all over PopSugar Fitness, whether it's on their IGTV, active.popsugar.com, and also on their YouTube. I am a host on PopSugar Fitness, but also I work as a trainer on there. So I get to share a lot of my different workouts there. But I'm actually working on some of my own like exclusive challenges and things like that to throw out to people to be able to do on their own time. And they're all feel-good challenges. So there will be there'll be no like physical result tracking, but people will still take like before and after photos. Sorry, that's my dog. She's going
That's
on.
your baby.
Yes, it is. My only baby. Yeah. But yeah, so it'll help people to track their progress without paying so much attention to weight loss and losing inches and things like that. So we're going to measure how good you feel from the beginning of the challenge to the end.
Oh, I love that. And is that going to be something rolled out on like
on DejaRiley.com? So I'll be announcing where you guys can find it and pre-order the challenge actually this weekend. So I'm super excited about that. I've been working on that for quite some time. And so you guys will be able to do these challenges on your own time. They're going to provide workouts for you, also workouts for your mind, workouts for your soul. So it's not just physical, but I'm excited to start off with a shorter challenge, and then we're going to progress to longer challenges along the way.
Oh, I love that. That's one thing. Congratulations. I know that
takes
a lot of work and prep.
Yes.
So congratulations. Looking forward to I will say this. I've actually done one of your PopSugar workouts. Girl. I think I was literally maybe 11 minutes in, and I was like, whoa.
Yes.
But I'm also really uncoordinated when it comes to actually following directions versus being in the club. You know what I'm saying? So I also love how fun they are. So if your YouTube content and your challenges are anything like that, guys, I'm going to tell you, not only fun, because your energy just comes out too, Deja. Calories torched. Let me tell you that much. So thank you. Listen, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but we typically end with what I call rapid questions. It's just like
I love these. Perfect. Yes, let's do it.
Say less, sis. Say less. I got a few questions. These are always fun because, like, sometimes I also get to know you from a different aspect as well. So I'll try to make this quick. Favorite genre of music? Although I think I know.
I'm gonna say R&B and soul.
Yeah, not surprising. Okay. What would you say is your primary love language?
Ooh, I would say I have one for giving and then one for receiving.
Okay, what is yours to receive?
Okay, to receive, I love words of affirmation.
Okay, words. Okay.
And giving, I love acts of service.
Okay, nice. Would that be your husband's then? Acts of service?
So it's funny because his is also the same as mine. So he likes to give acts of service and he likes to receive words of affirmation. So we like know each other well on that end, but like we have to make adjustments when like giving love to one another.
I love that. See, a couple that does the work knows these things that strengthens their bond and relationship.
Yes.
Coffee or tea?
Ooh, I love tea.
Tea. Smoothies or juices?
Smoothies.
Okay, you like it thick. All right.
Yes.
What would you say? I like this one because I think I know. I have a feeling I know where you're gonna go with this one. What would you say is your spirit animal?
Ooh, that's really good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say a cheetah.
Ooh, yeah. Okay. I was gonna say something very bold and
Yes.
Okay.
Because they have a bold coat on the outside. Yes. They're very fast. And like, they're just like everything about them just feels like a rush, like a swift rush. Yeah. And I feel like that's the kind of energy that I want to put out there, like cheetah.
Yeah. And also graceful too. I like it.
Yes,
I
like
they are. Moving on. Okay, a current TV series that you're binging or have binged and love that you want to plug?
Oh, I've got a couple, but right now I would say I'm watching Greenleaf, and
really?
P-Valley.
And we like them? Because
Yes,
I have no
we
idea.
love them. We love them, but they're very different types of shows. So like P-Valley talks about like the ins and outs of the strip club, and one of my former dance friends has she has a leading role on that show. So I started watching it to support her, and then I was like, "Ooh, this is kind of good. I like it."
Okay.
So watching that, and then Greenleaf is actually a story about the church and this family that like has their own ministry and the ins and outs and ups and downs of their lives. But I typically like shows that are like family shows. So I love This Is Us. I love Scandal. I always loved How to Get Away with Murder. I watched it from season 1 to the end because I like a little crime sprinkled in there too.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, so I'm definitely like, I'm a thriller lover too when it comes to like movies, and like I like crime stories and things like that. So it just like makes my brain tap dance.
Yeah, you've given me a lot. That's a whole lot.
That's a lot.
If I haven't seen it, or if I've like thought about it but then kept on going, I'm like, all right, if you mentioned it, then I need to add it back on the list. That was a lot. That's all up here. Okay, here's something that I think is fun. Name one thing about your body that you love.
Ooh, I love that my body's always changing.
Ooh, I love that.
Yes, I love, like, I really love seeing my body go through the various stages that it's gone through in life. And I look forward to things like motherhood because I know my body will transform in so many ways. But just like in the 32 years that I've been on this earth, my body has gone through so many different phases. And in all of them, I've found something so beautiful that I love. And then I've always found something that I can work on and make stronger. So yeah, I love that my body is always changing.
That answer couldn't be any more perfect. That's really beautiful, Deja. Perfect. And the follow up with that one is name one thing about your personality that you love.
Ooh. I love that I'm very energetic. Like, it's just natural for me to like, once my day gets going and I've done my meditation and like just started to dive into the day, I just like feel energetic. So like, I really know if I'm like not feeling so well because that energy doesn't like burst through the same way. Although I've had friends tell me that like, you're still really energetic on days where you're like not feeling your best. And I'm like, okay, good. Well, like running low here, but I'm glad that the energy still reads and transcends. So.
Your running low might be equivalent to someone's like average having a great day. You know?
Could be.
Which is a beautiful thing. Okay, a couple more, I promise. So I'm not taking up too much of your time.
No, you're good. Take your time.
If your house was burning down, name one thing that you would grab. Now, I will say, it can't be your dog or your husband because they're running outside with you.
Okay, great. Okay, because I was going to definitely grab my husband first. I love my dog, but he would have been second. But yeah, first thing I'm grabbing. Ah, wow, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
I think I'd grab, I think I'd grab my current journal. Oh. Because I kind of would want to know, like, I think I'd want to hold on to like whatever I was feeling. Because I always feel like material things you can always replace.
Right.
So like, I mean, that is still a material thing, but it like has my feelings and my thoughts and my hopes and dreams in it. So yeah, I think I'd grab my journal.
Yeah. Interesting. In my mind, I'm like, I think I'm going to grab my laptop. It's just so much.
Well, do you do writing? Do you do a lot of writing on your laptop?
You know what I do, but everything, like my writing is more in like, because I'm such a paper and pen person that I have journals. So like, you make me feel bad because I should probably, they're great. Over the years, especially the past 7 years I've been journaling, it's always good to go back. So it inspired me there. Perhaps I'd be a little bit more materialistic. Last question, Deja, and I promise I'll let you go, is this. Name one thing on your bucket list that you have not yet accomplished yet.
I haven't become a mother.
Oh, I love that.
And I want to be a mom very soon. My husband and I have been we've been having a lot of conversations about it. I know you're a mom and you have those beautiful boys, and I also love how you talk about your relationship and being a soon-to-be stepmom, and how you take care of those boys. I think it's just so beautiful. But I love children so much, and I'm the oldest of 10. So I
Really?
yeah.
Wow, that is amazing.
So I have a big family, but I've always desired to have a family of my own and have my own kids. So that is one thing in life that I have not yet accomplished, but I plan to do so soon.
That is so exciting. Have you spoken about this on social media before? Or are we hearing this? You're telling people now that you're having conversations about having a baby, and we're hearing this first on Television TV. I feel like
you got it first.
Exclusive.
Exclusive, yes.
Oh my gosh, people! This will be shared and kept, so
yes.
other people will listen. You know that, right?
They can now. It can be like out amongst the thousands, the hundreds of thousands. They can all talk about it. I over here am wanting to make a baby.
Oh my gosh, I love. Listen, my mother always said, if you want something, say it out, manifest it, put it in the universe. So if you're making an announcement anytime soon, I'm like, it's because you said it. TV. But that's a beautiful thing. And correction, I'm actually not a birth mother.
I know.
So we have that in common, because I too feel like as much love as I know I have, I do have four. I consider them my kids, because when they're very much part of my life, and to me, it's like it's hard to not treat them as like your very own when you love children so much. So I definitely feel like a mom. But at the same time, I think the experience of pregnancy and motherhood from that aspect, from beginning to end, I cannot wait for as well. So I think we're aligned there, and so God willing, we will be blessed and be mothers one day too.
Yes, we will. We will. I'm speaking it into existence.
That you already did. I love that. Deja, thank you, sis. Thank you
of
for
course.
being who you are. Thank you for the plug. Thank you for making time to speak with me. It means a lot, truly. So I just wish you, your husband, continued love and growth in the space that you're in. And again, we're both in LA, and when times go back to some type of normality,
I know. We have to make it happen.
Yeah, like reconnect with that community. Just not just as fitness people, but just as just fellow women that certainly vibe, because I definitely get that from you. So until then, sis, I wish you love, and I will hopefully see you again soon.
Love you, babe.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.